would be best for the FBI to answer that question.
First and foremost, I did not call it a hate crime. I said we're looking at other aspects to ensure what potential violations are out there before we can label any type of investigation. We have to ensure that the evidence and the precursors are there, and they have to be reviewed to make sure that we are executing and moving in the right direction. So at this point in time, we're reviewing all the evidence that we have collected so far. We're pursuing other leads. We have mobilized additional officers for assistance in that vein, and we will conduct investigations just like we have in other incidents. Again, no, right now it is a murder investigation. There is potential for a number of different other types of violations, and we're reviewing all the evidence to make a determination as to what potentially else is out there in addition to the violations that have been stated that the local authorities are pursuing. And in that vein, we will assist them in that effort as we work together with state and local and other federal agencies all over the country to do. And we will keep you updated as the investigation proceeds.
Right now we have a manifesto from this individual that indicates to some degree it has a nexus to potential hate crime. It being a step on the FBI's toes on that, but we are taking this down the road of simply a murder investigation with numerous casualties. And as I said, the state of Texas will be the lead prosecuting agency in this. Pardon me, sir? Well, I can't get into specifics on that right now because we have to validate for certainty that this was the manifesto from this individual that we've arrested. So with that in play, we still have to be aware of the fact that this person is still entitled to fair process as far as the law. We don't want to complicate that by making any statements right now that might be tainting the investigation. Would you mind repeating that? We're not able to ascertain that right now simply because hospitals will not release that information to us specifically. Again, those are details that we're going to keep under play right now as far as the investigation goes. We have one weapon that was put on the social media. I'm sure you're aware of that, which was a AK-47. We don't know if those pictures released in social media were the actual individual. So right now, again, going back to the fair process for this individual, we don't want to taint the investigation by matter-of-factly saying things right now. Do you mind repeating that? Capability of a weapon allowed that, and then his intent. And then the location of where he chose was a Walmart, a supermarket, where people are in large numbers there. So if you're firing randomly at people, you can cause a lot of damage. Again? No. Again, the initial information coming in was several suspects. That information was put out to the field. We had misleading information going to different locations as far as supermarkets. Costco was one location. Dillard's was another. Everyone was responding to that. Social media somewhat influenced that, but in the final analysis of all this, the suspect was arrested at Sunmount and in Viscount, which is on the west side of the Walmart out there where the initial shooting took place. I'm sorry? Yes. He surrendered to the approaching officers. I don't know that matter of factly, but he surrendered to police upon being seen. Right now, we only have one. You're asking for specifics right now. Right now, that's still under investigation. That's for a psychologist to answer. That's something that is definitely, I think, in play, but that's beyond my skill sets. I only caught the tail end of that now. We train for active shooter events all the time. And as I've said to my staff and to the department, we train for this, not expecting it to happen, but nonetheless, we have to prepare for it to happen. And we try to get the community as much involved as we possibly can to participate in these events so that everyone is under understanding what this potentially might cause.
This responding to a situation like this to try to make sure it doesn't happen again is a replication of what we just went through during the last legislative session. It was May a year ago when we had the horrific tragedy of the shooting at Santa Fe High School that led to 3 days of hearings that I conducted at the Capitol to get input from people who are educators, who are students, who are victims of shooting crimes, as well as experts in all different kinds of fields to help us be able to strategize the best ways to keep students safe and to prevent incidents like that from happening again. That led to hearings that were conducted by the legislature before the session began, then additional hearings, and then legislation that was passed by the state of Texas and is now law that includes bill after bill after bill that makes sure that we are doing more than ever before to keep students safe at school. During that time, we did not, as far as I know, evaluate for and plan for an incident like this. That said, I can tell you that perhaps the most profound and agreed upon issue that came out of all of those hearings was the need for the state and for society to do a better job of dealing with challenging mental health-based issues. We know that's a component to shootings that take place in schools. I think it's a fact. Probably is a component to any type of shooting that takes place, including, for example, the shooting that took place in Sutherland Springs. Bottom line is, mental health is a large contributor to any type of violence or shooting violence, and the state of Texas this past session passed a lot of legislation and provided funding for the state to better address that challenge.